Good morning, good morning. How's everybody doing this morning? Happy Thursday. Hey Josh, how you doing? I'm good, I'm good. It was a good week for me so far. Hey Dan, Joe Mama, what's going on? Another day, another short position. What's up, Travis? Uh, how's Lotus Land? Good to see you, Trade Maker. What's up, Lodigan? How you doing? Hey, Worm. You know, Worm, when I see your name in the Discord, I think of Worm. You ever seen the movie Friday with Ice Cube and Chris Tucker? And the guy was Worm. You ever, anybody see that movie? That's what I think about. It's hilarious. Yeah, we coming up on Friday too. Oh my goodness. So it was a good week because I realized this week that I do have the tendency to talk and people have no idea what I'm saying. So I got to work on that. And we're going to do a webinar in the room today after the RTH session. And it's going to be kind of like a 101 putting it all together kind of thing. I think that's important. Um, let's take a look at this kooky market. Now, yesterday, I actually don't know how this news broke out yesterday that caused us to go and take out that poor low. But remember, if you guys remember, I was going on and on and on about this poor low. Do you remember that at 62.46, right? And I was saying I want to see what's under here. And it's almost like the president heard me. And he said, "Okay, JJ, let's go see what's under 62.46." You asked? So I don't know how this news about firing the Fed chairman came out or who released it. But I got to say something. The way they're putting out these news releases or however they're disseminating this stuff, right? To put on my old guy hat and my three-piece suit, this is highly irresponsible, right? And then come out and say, no, jinx, psych, I didn't mean it. All it's doing is it's really irresponsible and it's getting people trapped short like you cannot believe, right? I don't know who put it out, how they put it out, but I came back, I went for a walk, and I came back, and I totally missed this move. Because I would have bought the hell out of 62.50 if I saw this, right, in hindsight, which is always, you're always right in hindsight. I don't know how fast. I'm going to have to replay the chart and watch that again. That's something I didn't do last night. But I wanted to see what kind of buying was under that poor low. And we found out right quick that the short bid is still there. The shorts are still bid to cover there. So we looked underneath the previous day low, and then we ripped. Now, here's one cool thing about market profile. One cool thing is the blue stuff is where 70% of the inventory is priced. When you look at market profile, these are half-hour candles. So I always look and see how much time did we spend above the previous day's low, and how much time did we spend below it, comparatively. We didn't spend that much time below it, maybe an hour, right? Tops. And then right back up into another short squeeze. We've got a short position here right at my 63.06. And I'm telling you, if we get over 63.20, position traders really want to watch shorting this thing going into Friday, right? Speaking of Ice Cube and Chris Tucker, right? Thank you, Johnny. So it was a Florida congresswoman. That's really, really stupid. Sorry of her to say that. They should, they need to clamp down on that, because you can't go around saying you're going to fire a Federal Reserve chairman. You just cannot do that. That is irresponsible, right? You know, people lost a lot of money on that move because there were a lot of people that were long, and they just got taken out to the woodshed. And then the people who got short under 62.70, they got taken out to the woodshed when they said, no, just kidding, right? You can't do that. I'm an irresponsible trader, and, you know, I even know that that's irresponsible. You can't be pulling stuff like that. That's just offside, right? Anyway, what is the takeaway for us? What does this all mean? Okay, JJ, that's great. You're incensed by the irresponsibility of politicians. Ooh, that's new. What do we do? Well, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, for the love of God, please do not trade without stops. Because if you were long 62.80, right, whatever you were long before that flush, and you didn't have a stop, God knows where you got filled on your out, right? Brutal. So use stops, because let's face it, you cannot trust the people who are running the show. At least in the old days, they would hide their corruption and they had some panache. They would do things, they had style. Now they're just fumbling. So don't trade without stops. Don't trade the news. Let the chart tell you what's going on. If you see a big move down, right? If you see a lot of volatility, get out. You know, like, you know those horror movies? Right? You know those horror movies when the couple, they buy that house and it's like a $5 million house and it's on sale for $50,000, and they spend the first night, you know, and they hear that, get out. What was that? I don't know. It could be the boiler. I don't know. Maybe we should, you know, let's bake a cake. Get out. So when you see price jumping up and down, when you see a very quick market action, that's like the market going, get out. That's not for us. We don't have the luxury of hundreds of millions of dollars that we can put towards trading news, right? We don't have algorithms. We don't have the computer systems. We don't have the data feeds. All of that stuff that the institutions have, right? Right? But a lot of people, they get enticed by that jumping around, right? No, you got to get out. You can't trade that fast, and you're going to lose your account. And you have to remember that. I just wanted to talk a little bit about that before we get into the trading, because I feel it would be irresponsible of me to not address how badly, dear Lord, how badly and how irresponsible these people are, right? Um, Alrighty then, moving right along. Tampa. Okay, I'll you can take that down now. Sorry. Oh man, if you were only in the trading room now and you saw what he posted. Okay. Um, Overnight inventory was short. Okay. It was short. We spent a lot of time down here. Right. Now we've corrected inventory higher. And we are outside. Sorry, I've got this in the wrong place. We are above yesterday's high. So if this continues, if this upward trend continues, right? And I warned about that yesterday. I keep saying if we get over 63.19, 63.20, if we stick above 63.06, well, we'll open on, if we open up here, we'll open on a gap in RTH. Be careful of that. Last time we opened on a gap, we filled it. I don't know. This time, let me show you something, folks. This is really important. Okay? Look at this line. The majority of all the inventory, short term, right? Your short-term inventory is here. Once you get above this level, there's this, and there's this. This is why market profile, in market profile, sometimes they talk about stuff ad nauseum, which is never going to help you. But this helps you visualize, right? Because if you're one of those, I got to short, I got a short, I got a short, I got a short, I got a short people, maybe this visualization will help you see that once you get over 63.20, there's nothing for sale. And if you owned product from 62.60 to 63.12, why would you put it on sale if people are willing to buy it at 63.40? Be careful about that, okay? Be careful about that. Tampa, you got to take that down, man. I'm going to get in trouble for that. I know it's public domain, but I got to get canceled. Don't Don Cherry me. All right? Thank you, sir. All right? I understand now. Oh, man. Sometimes, you think just when you've seen everything in this business. So that's my sort of thing, okay? Be careful. Yeah. If you're short and this thing gets over 63.20 going into the weekend, be careful, right? Hopefully they still sell a little bit at 63.16 if we get up there, right? So just for my longer term traders, watch out, right? And that's the problem with trading all-time highs is once you get over a certain area, all the product inventory is underneath you, right? So, okay, how are we going to trade this kooky thing now? All righty, here we go again. So there's yesterday's high at 63.08 and 3/4. We're now trading 63.11. We do have single prints now in this market profile, and that's going to show us, see, there's one single print here, right? So there's very visible short positions in this market. One is right here, okay? Short positions are created when the market takes out an upper or lower reference and causes a stop run. That is what creates a short position, right? Or an excess of supply. And that's what creates single prints. Market profile is a very quick way of seeing visually where the stops are, where the shorts are trapped, where the longs are trapped. That's why we use it. Now for trading and actual execution, we want to use that 1 minute chart. So this morning, my balance, I used this balance from 62.89 to 92 3/4. You double it to 99 1/4, and you double it again, and 12 1/4 is my upper target. Okay? Good old VWAP is, let's make sure I have VWAP in the right place. And we've taken out, right, remember at nighttime you can move markets much more easily because there's less competition, right? There are less participants. So let's go see how this cookie crumbles now. So now if you're a short seller, say I'm shorting this market, and I don't even have my trading software open. That's great, JJ. Hello. Let's open it up. So if I wanted to take a short, and say I'm shorting 63.10, put an offer out at 10 1/4, right? Well, I'm going to be looking at this level here, which is 11 1/4, 11 1/2. Because if we lose the seller there, right? Once again, and this is how you short intelligently. You find a seller, you sell alongside that seller, right? And if that seller disappears, you get out. Imbalance is created when you don't take in all the requisite minerals and vitamins you need, I think. A short position is created when people short in the hole and then they go bid to cover. I do not know what this imbalance is, and that's why I make fun of it. I hear people talking about imbalance all the time. Been in the business for 33 years and I've never heard it talked about amongst professionals and market makers and traders. Maybe it's a prop trading thing, because I've never hung out with prop traders. But a short position is very simple, Dan, right? For example, say this is a stock and everybody's short here. And I get 100,000 people, or let's say, let's make this a little easier, right? I get people to sell 1 million shares that they don't own here. You follow me? Right? So a group of people sell 1 million shares here that they don't own. I own all the supply and I buy those 1 million shares. Now, when I take the market up, they're forced to cover, right? I have no idea what this imbalance is, right? I don't understand that. I hear it all the time. I hear imbalance and unfinished business. Unfinished business means you got to go to the bathroom. Right? Maybe you need some prunes, right? And imbalance means maybe you should take the day off, need a bit of a holiday. But from a market mechanics perspective, yeah, see, and this is how they get you, Johnny, right? They start talking about more buyers than sellers, and then you get caught in that rat's nest of terms, right? Oh, balance to trend. Okay, balance, trend, balance. Okay, so think of balance, right? Let's reverse this, Dan. This is good. Think of this as balance, right? Back and forth, right? Balance. You know what that is? That's the warehouse. Trend is the highway to where we go sell it. Right? So just like you had the warehouse, you load all the semis, you drive the product out to Walmart, you sell it. When people don't want to buy it, you put that crap in trucks and take it to TJ Maxx. Make sense? This way you can visualize it, right? Otherwise, you're thinking imbalance, balanced, unfinished business, X-lax, right? All sorts of crazy nonsense. Does that make sense? You go from balance to trend. Trend is the highway to distribution, right? So you've got product here, right? You put it in a truck. This is the highway. This is distribution. Guess what? They keep coming for it. Let's raise price. More distribution. This is beautiful, right? This price caused them to want to pay more. Now, when they're sick of paying this, we'll start putting it on sale. Pretty simple. What's up, AZS? I'm short two contracts at 10, 63, 10, 13 on the micro. And I'm going to go put in a bid at 9 for one and see if I can get hit, which is just above yesterday's high. Here's what I like to do, Dan. I like to trade this, but when it gets really tight, then I stop trading. I don't like trying to get the highway move. That breakout move is when I sell. I've been taught that when a market breaks out higher, that you sell your inventory into it because it's created the buying that allows you to sell all your inventory. Oh, come on, hit me at 9, you dirty, rotten. Okay? So I don't buy breakouts as a rule. And I don't short them. I just leave them alone, wait till they get to the store, and then I'll trade it back and forth. People love to trade the breakout. Buying retention does work on every time frame, Warren. Hey, I got one at 9. I'm going to put a bid at 8 3/4 and see if I can get a fill. I'm short one at 10 1/4. I'm flat. And buying retention for those folks at home who aren't in the room, what that means is if I sell 1 million shares between $5 and $6, when the market drops under 5, what percentage of those people who bought those 1 million shares are going to hold? In a speculative market, the buying retention is not as much. If you're selling to investors, they're going to hold longer. See? Right? When you're selling stock, you want to sell it to investors, not traders. You sell it to investors, they take it and go. And they come back 5 years later. Right? When you sell it to traders in the morning, they're out of it in half an hour tops. We want to trade it when the breakout fails, right? The look above and fail. But it didn't do that, so I took the short here using this as a stop. Now, if this is just a little sale to get people to come in, it should kind of slow down as it comes into this cost basis and then bounce back. If there is no more buying and we have to really discount price, we'll drop under 5 3/4, which is just here. How does that impact? Well, Worm, it usually means just when you get short, the price starts going up. That's the way it always happens, right? Renee, at 308. No, we don't have a poor low at 308. Poor low is just usually a half an hour candle term or a market profile term, right? But I understand what you're saying. We stopped selling right there, right? On the 1 minute. So I get what you're saying. The buyers are sitting here. You're right. It's a good observation, right? The buyers are sitting here. Yeah. Sorry, I'm being persnickety just in case there's market profile people watching. They're always like, you can't call a poor low on a candle chart. I'm like, okay, all right, take it easy. Right. So this is what Renee is talking about, and this is really good powers of observation. You see it right at 6308 that these candles have the exact same low. And what that means is those little short orders are all here. Right? These are unfilled buy orders. So when the market comes down to those unfilled buy orders, it tries to get those people to pay more. But if we have a lot of competitive buying, it'll dip underneath and come back up. And that is that look below and fail. Right? And you just kind of saw it. We like to do it at an edge, but that trade happens everywhere. That trade happens everywhere. Right? Now London's opening. If London can't go and take out that 8 level, it's going to rotate back up and you're going to be looking for 10 1/4, 10 1/2 on the sell side. Oh, sellers are competing. Yeah, definitely AZS. Right? Look at that. That worked nicely. Right? So it violated that level. So had I been long, say at 8 1/2, 9, I would have scratched the trade. Right? And that's how you use that information, in an intelligent manner. Let's see if we get a bid here. 8's a good entry. Yes, you're right. But I was just addressing that 8 bid, just in case anybody was long, right? So what I like to do, VS, is I know that there are people long and I know that there are people short. So I'm like, look, if you're long and this breaks, get the hell out. If you're short and this happens, get the hell out. Yep, no problem. Let's see if we fill these single prints. This is normal London behavior. When London opens, it usually likes to go down, get some cheap paper, right? And then go back up to sell it. So there's going to be a seller here. So these are the unfilled buy orders right here. So they filled them, right? Now let's see who comes in. Yeah, Johnny, you're looking at this right here, right? 4, right on top of this position. You're probably right. Let's see if we can get down there. So if you're long now, right? Put those sell orders out. I bought a couple at, where am I long? 6.5, and I'll sell into this. Out at 7.5, out at 7.75. Got a, what do I got left? I got 2 more, and I'm seeing it come back down under that white line. I don't like that. If the offer doesn't lift, I'm gonna punt them. Nope, they must have heard me, right? And I got 1 left. I'm offered at 7.75. They're not taking me at 7.75, so I might just hit the bid on that. I'm out. See that 7.25 sellers need to clear them out before we could go higher. Come on now. I'm flat, but see if we can clean this up now. Nope. See how persistent that 7.25 seller is? Volume is light. Yes, volume is light. Starting to lose that 6 bid. The only reason I took that little long was because the single prints were there. So I knew that there would be a little buying, and I could front run it a little bit. But you've got to sell into it. You can't be greedy. A little ES coffee break. It's decided to kind of go to sleep for a bit. Let's see. Not a lot of people coming in rushing to buy. Sellers at 7 now. Is it Netflix after the close? Thanks, Raj. If you're trading something like this, make sure your sell orders are in. Because it's FIFO, you want to make sure they're at the front of the line. So as soon as you take a position in choppy markets, make sure your sell order is in. If you're long, if you're short, make sure your buy orders are in so you get a fill. Oh. FIFO is first in, first out. So you want to make sure that your orders are in the system, right? At the front of the line, or as close to the front of the line as you can get, right? So there's two reasons why as soon as I put in a buy order and it executes, right? So it's buy, stop, execution, right? As soon as I put in that buy order, I put in my stop. As soon as that buy order gets executed, I throw my sell orders in right away. Why do I do that instead of like moving my stop up and trailing my stop? Well, because if I'm long, say 5.25, right, and I put offers out at 6.5, 7, right, and we get up to 6.5, 7, and the market doesn't take me out, if I cannot sell one measly micro or one measly E-mini at that price, tells me that the demand for my product is not that great, and I may have to lower price. Do you see how the practicality of that in execution makes sense, right? That's why the chart's not going to tell you if your actual order is going to get taken, if your execution is actually going to be executed. You actually have to put your order in. If it does not get executed, it tells you the most valuable information that a market can tell you. I'm long at 5. I have a 550 sell. The market gets to 550. My sell order does not execute. That is the market trying to hit you on the head with a fish and telling you, buddy, lower your price. Right? You are a vendor. You must set your prices according to what the market will bear. There's no point going, I own it at 5, I want to sell it at 6, and the price is at 450. That makes no damn sense. Right? It's like, what is that car that looks like a Phantom? That Chrysler car that they used to make? It's like trying to pass one of those off as a Phantom. Right? It looks like a Phantom. Yeah, I want 300 grand for it. It's a Chrysler. Yeah, it's not a really good business plan. Do you guys understand? Does this help you visualize? When you're long, put your sell orders out, because if nobody wants to buy your contracts, boo-boo, you're going to have to lower your price. It's just common sense. And just because it works on the sim Doesn't mean, like a lot of people will say, well, why don't you just watch the level and sell? Well, probably number one, you're not fast enough, right? Get your orders in, put them in the system. They will tell you if your trade is working, right? Single prints that are new versus a few days ago, stronger based on that time. Now, it's all about what orders are there at the time when we go and revisit that area, Johnny. So whether it's single prints, a moving average, any kind of a structural piece of information, right? I can never tell what's going to happen until we go down there and tickle it with some order flow, right? Because the order flow that goes down there on Tuesday is going to be different than Wednesday. And heck, sometimes 10 minutes from now, the order flow will be completely different. That's why we have to totally zone in. You kind of get what I'm saying? I used to try and think like that, but I found it biased my trading. So I'd think a level is stronger than it was, and it would just rip right through that level and be like, uh-oh, right? Always observation. The best way to get ahead in this business is to sit and watch, right? That sitting and watching made me a lot of money the very first time I learned this. There was a company, and they called me in. They said, listen, we're going to call you in. We have somebody who's shorting our stock, right? And, you know, they're shorting our stock. Can you help us find out who it is? Because I was very good with clearing and forensic trading, right? Now, you guys don't know what forensic trading is. Forensic trading is when you have a deal and 3 or 4 people and they all have stock and they have an agreement with them not to sell stock. There's always 1 or 2 of them that's always selling behind everybody's back because they need money, right? Simple, right? Or they're just greedy, right? So they always bring me in to find out who the seller is, right? So I go and start doing my work. And I remember this distinctly. It was after the close, and everybody runs in Vancouver at 1 o'clock every morning, bolts. As soon as that bell rings, boom, everyone's gone. There's that seller at 6.25, 6.5. Let's see if we can lift price. So I'm sitting there, and something just told me to sit and watch the aftermarket. And when I did so, I don't know what I was doing. I think I was futzing with something on my computer, on one of the computers, and I so if you're long, sell into this, eh, folks? I saw a block. I saw 230,000 shares print at around $3.50. Right? Those are those after hours trades that you guys always talk about. And I immediately knew I got you. Right? Because the order printed, right? And then on my level 2 screen, I saw the market maker adjust his market after he printed that trade. So what he did is he waited as late as he could to print the trade. It was a sell, of course. He printed the trade to the Canadian client long after everyone was gone except me. Now, the market maker, I knew who would use that market maker. And this guy was a little obvious. He didn't know how to disguise his selling. So he used a market maker, and I called up the market maker, right? I'm like, hey, what the hell? Right? He's like, I'm like, okay, I know I got him. So I called the deal guys and I go, this is your problem. You don't have a predatory short seller shorting your stock. You have one of your partners who's selling stock behind everybody's back and blaming it on a short seller. And that, my friends, is the oldest trick in the book. When they tell you there's a short position in a stock, the short position has been created to get you guys to get sucked in to try and break the short, and it's them selling into you. It's the oldest trick in the book. That gag is so old it's got whiskers on it. Anyway, I had caught this guy dead to rights. And it was funny just watching him squirm on why he was selling. Well, I the market maker said he was short and he was upside down and I was trying to help him. Oh, come on. Right? Oh, so funny. Seller's still there. We're in distribution via squad, right? But the power of sitting and watching, I wasn't doing any trades, I was just sitting and watching, will make you a lot of money. Trust me. The amount of business I got from that. Do you know that people after that, they would pay me $10,000 just to look at a stock and tell them what was going on? And I could figure out what was going on in less than 3 minutes. That's a little different, Raj. It wasn't just one guy, it was everybody in PLTR. Wasn't one guy. The whole crew sold. They just dumped it. Luckily, they cleaned it up, and retail did okay on that. Yeah, spend some time watching. It'll pay off. That 45 minutes made me hundreds of thousands of dollars in commissions, in business, in consulting fees. Absolutely insane amount of money I made just off of being in the right place, watching, and just observing. Take that and use it in your retail trading. You don't have to be in a trade all the time. Johnny, your 6304 is up to bat. Let's see what happens here. So what happened right now, nobody wanted to buy it, right? So we got the market came in, a little distribution here, not bad, right? So this is, I don't know, I can't remember US department stores. Macy's, this is like Barney's New York, and now we're back down. We're going to take it back down. And then if we have to, we'll take it to TJ Maxx down here, right? So distribution, markdown. Let's see where the buyers are now. I bet you they're down here at 1 if we break 3. Oh, boy. Now, a lot of people will say, why do the sellers sell it under VWAP is TJ Maxx? Moran, good question. Right? People always ask, well, why don't they sell at a higher price? Because they're not the only seller. These large sellers, they have competition, right? So you can't let the competition get your customers. You have to mark down your product as needed to turn your inventory into cash. Because that's the business of the market. The market is to turn inventory into cash. Right? You guys know that, right? It's not for you guys to make money. It's for the people who run the show to turn their inventory into cash. And then again, and rinse and repeat. So where's Howard? Howard's not on with us this morning? The point of control did not move up. So the way I've been trading this market, this is actually not bad movement. Usually, you notice when we come on this overnight session, don't you notice usually that it's really slow and we get those crappy barcode candle patterns, right? Well, what I've done is I've taken a test trade here and there because the last 2 weeks I had to kind of change the way I did business. The regular type of scalping I was doing, the opportunity wasn't there. So it's either build a position, and I was like, I'm not really sure, especially with this president. I don't really want to build positions. So what I find is I come in, I do a couple of scalps, and then I go away. And then I'll look at the charts every once in a while, and I'll see if my setup presents itself. And then usually, maybe an hour before the market opens, right, or an hour and a half, and then right into the open, there'll be one or two trades, and then I'll take those, and I'm done, right? And that's what I've been doing this week. I do one trade with 8 to 10 contracts. I'm in and out, and then that's it. Goodbye. I might scalp with the micro when I'm on YouTube, right, to keep people happy. But that's what I'm doing right now, is I'm trading a lot less because I sucked in June, right? In June, I after I came back from that 4 days off, oh, it was horrible, right? I just couldn't get my timing right. My discipline was bad. Just everything, So I'd just be in and out, a couple of scalps. The futures market is always open. Louis with one lot. How you doing? We call it the London Open, and it's kind of misleading. It's when the London equity market's open. My discipline was horrible in June, right? If not for you guys, I don't think I would have even been in front of the screens. I just couldn't get into it, you know? And that happens sometimes in the business. CAs, yes. Have a good one. The main thing is when you know that you're off, don't push it. That way you keep your money for when you actually more in the zone. And stuff like this, I won't trade this now, right? Until it comes to an edge, right? I traded it here when it got close to an edge. Now I'll wait for this. Here, I'm not going to mess with it. Especially with only 47,000 contracts traded. Do we have higher margin requirements? Do we have some kooky news today? One of the PIs? Magnum PI? Something? Right? Nope, no news today? Well, maybe if the politicians can lay off the Diet Coke, we might have a nice, peaceful Thursday. Hey, but at least we found out what was under 62.46, right? At least we found out what's lurking under 62.46. And there's bids. Now, on the daily, jobless claims and retails, we do have news. On the daily, candle wax. Yesterday I was monkeying around with this and I thought, well, we've got a distribution balance going here. And that's 62.60 to 63.31 and 3/4. And how I look at that is I look at a high and a low, and when we look above that high, right, you look above that high, do we come back to that low? So that's that two-sided trade I'm looking at, right? And when we break out of it, 64.74 is the upper target. 61.16 is the lower. Double it. Did you say your discipline was horrible, and how would you how would a trading desk setting? Oh, no. There's Louis. My discipline was horrible in June. I'm 57 years old and I haven't been on a trade desk in quite a while. When you're on a trading desk, right? You have customer orders coming in all the time, right? There's no discipline or lack of, you get to work, otherwise you're unemployed. You know what I mean? The phone has to be answered on the first ring. Trades have to be executed in 30 seconds. You know, there's no, it's not discipline. When you're on a trade desk, it's not discipline. It's fear for your life. This is retail trading. I don't have any clients screaming, "Where's my fill?" Right? Right? If you don't get me my fill, the only job you're ever going to get is sweeping the street. That's how your clients talk to you. It's not a genteel business. Hey, Alfredo, what's up? ¿Qué pasa? So anyway, I'll put this in the room. Yeah, retail and wholesale, and when you're in the business is completely different, right? Oh, let me tell you something. The Dukes are exactly what brokerage firm owners are like. They're exactly what it's like. This is how the business works. They take half your commissions, but when you take a loss, you pay the whole loss. Okay? That's how that works in the business. And the loyalty they have to you is about 5 seconds. They're loyal to you by 5 seconds. After 5 seconds, they've run a P&L, or we can replace them. There's the people who own brokerage firms, especially. Do you know? I'll tell you guys this really quick story here. There's a gentleman in Canada who's got one of the largest brokerage firms, and how he made his money was shorting his own broker's deals. But that's a story for another day. And now he's like this, celebrated businessman. But he made his money by destroying people. It's not it's not a genteel business. Right? I'll tell you stories one day. First, we got to make some money, then I'll tell you stories. Yeah, Lonigan, he would look in his broker's accounts at the end of the day and see which brokers were leveraged. And then he'd short the stocks in his offshore account. Then he'd call them and he'd have them sell out the client, and then he could cover. It's easy money. It's like shooting fish in a barrel, right? There's no risk. You control the selling. Right? Oh yeah. Yeah. That's how they all used to make money. They'd short their own brokers' deals. That's Vancouver. All right, folks. See, all we have to do is have a good trade setup, right? We don't have to deal with those people. That's the nice thing about retail trading. You get to talk to normal people, right? That's nice. I like that. All right, folks, please join us at the Trading Syndicate. Thank you. We appreciate you. I'm JJ. I'm vwaptrader1 on X. If you need anything, DM me. And I will see you at 9. Have a great morning. That sounds illegal. Oh, that's adorable, Louis. Okay. That's absolutely adorable. We'll see you guys later. Bye for now. Thanks for joining me. Really appreciate it.